I have a few questions, like we touched on this earlier, in terms of radicals, because the questions have been coming in about writing characters, recognizing them, but there's one point that I would like to emphasize, which every character has. It's radicals, and you mentioned this in your ebook, which I found very useful. Like, it's one of the best ways for you to recognize the meaning or the pronunciation of a character, even if it's the first time you saw it. And could you further elaborate on the importance of radicals if you want to learn Chinese characters?
Um, well, so basically, for anybody who might not know, radicals, the Chinese characters are usually broken down into, radicals and then the other part. So the radical hints at the meaning of the character, and then the other part sometimes has the possibility to give you a clue how to pronounce it. So, the radicals are, excuse me, the radicals are pretty small in number. There's only about, I think it's 200 and some, 15 or 16, something like that. Yeah. So compared to, however, and all Chinese characters are made up with these. So right away, if you're going to learn 5,000 characters, you can recognize a whole bunch of them right away just by knowing the radicals.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, so a character with the radical for the word with the meaning of hand, like a hand, usually has something to, the meaning of the character, as a whole, has something, the meaning is something to do with what you would do with the hand or hand itself. For example, the word for, or the character for to copy, that has the hand radical. The character for to hit, that has the hand radical. So that makes it a little bit easier to understand what the character might mean. I mean, obviously it's not, if there's a radical that means water, and then it only suggests that what you're seeing is a liquid. It doesn't necessarily, it could mean oil, it could mean water, it could mean grease, like you don't know, but you only learn it from more experience with Chinese characters. The other side, it's the other part of the character. I mean, it suggests the sound. I'll try to give you another example. Let me show you here. So, for example, this is the radical, the water radical. So here, this one on the side, you can see there's something similar to both of them, and that's the part of the character that would suggest. Oh, okay, and that's the part of the character that would suggest pronunciation, which, as you can see, I wrote on the bottom is yo.
Yo.
Right. Parts that aren't circled are the radicals, and they suggest the meaning of it. So this one has the water radical, and so this character in whole means oil. Again, it suggests of a liquid. And this character over here, its radical is the tree radical. So this character as a whole, it's a type of fruit, suggestive of a plant, as that it's a tree. So in that way, you can break down characters and see the radical versus how it might be pronounced.
Right, that's a very good example of both the definition and the pronunciation. Okay, so and there's more of that in the book. So yeah,
exactly.
That's one of the favorite parts of mine. So you might want to check that out. So I think the biggest benefit of radicals is that since it's in every Chinese characters, you won't. When you see a Chinese character now, it won't come as a mystery what it means. Like you have a vague idea either of what it means or what the pronunciation is. And I think that's a very big weapon or like tool you have in order to like continue and sustain your learning, because it's not going to be a shroud of like hieroglyphics or symbols, because it's going to have meaning and personality for you now rather than just random drawings, right?
Exactly. Moses McCormick, one of the language learners on YouTube, This is his technique, as far as I understand it. It's called the FLR technique, and it's basically where you find all these essential words, and then you learn them, and you learn them so that you can expand your sentences longer and longer. Instead of, so when somebody asks you, how did you learn Chinese, for example, you won't say, I learned it in school, but you can say, I learned it in school because I was interested in it, and then I went, something like that. So I think the most useful words are the words that can help you to express yourself and to make longer and longer sentences. Those keywords.
Right. Last question here. A lot of readers or listeners lead very busy lives, and they don't really have time to study Mandarin Chinese full time. So, what would you suggest these everyday language learners do, or what do they change in their lifestyle in order to make it sustainable? Because there's a lot of failure points, like lack of time, lack of energy. So how do we overcome these obstacles so that even a part-time learner could reach fluency in a reasonable amount of time?
I think first of all, you have to be totally honest. You have to want to do it, and you can't make too many excuses for yourself about these things. That being said, though, once you've decided that you want to do it, I think it's really important to utilize small bits of time that you have in your day, because it's rare that, especially somebody with a family or a stressful job, or maybe even lack of energy, it's hard for them to set out maybe an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours if you want to go crazy per day and learn a language. So I think that it's good to take the small bits of time in your day and really focus in. So for example, if you're watching TV and then the commercials come on, instead of sitting there watching a commercial for some useless hair products, you can instead put it on mute and take up your book or your chart or the 10 characters you've been learning for the last week, and you can look at them again, and you can use that short amount of time to reinforce what you're learning. And that one time that you're doing this, you're not really probably going to see anything come of it, and probably 2 times and 3 times. But if you do it for a week and a month, and then after a year, all of these times accumulate, and you're going to learn a lot. It's to be honest, you probably won't. You'll learn much more than if you say, okay, I'm going to sit down for 2 hours a day, because you probably won't be able to find 2 hours a day.
Right. I think that's one of the common misconceptions. Like, everyone's waiting for the perfect storm where your schedule aligns to allow you that certain block of time, which never really happens. So I'd suggest for me personally, I like watching the NBA, so basketball. So probably a suggestion from me would be, instead of watching it on ESPN, maybe watch it on CCTV. So you don't have to learn, separate a block of time to study. So while watching basketball, listen to Chinese commentary at the same time. So maybe you'll pick up stuff from there.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point.
So
perfect.
I hope the readers would pick up on that, and you don't really have to block a certain amount of time. Like, integrate it in your life so that it integrates seamlessly, rather than waiting for that block of time that never comes. Right.
Yeah.
So having said that,
I think because it will never.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say because it will never come.
Right. Finally, we talk about Chinese characters a lot, and there's really a lot more that we haven't talked about, and a lot of them are in Aaron's book, Chinese. So it's a highly recommended book to read, especially if you're starting out, because the thing is, when we get excited about learning something, we jump right into it. But taking time to read, like Aaron's book, it's a great supplement for your textbooks, because it gives you the story of the characters rather than just for you to memorize them in rote. So maybe you could invite them, Aaron, to get your book and learn more about Chinese characters.
Yeah. So, like Alan said, like you just said, the book is called Chinese. That's Chinease.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will be easy to show that Chinese isn't the monster it's made out to be. This is an important part of the book. So in the beginning, you sort of learn the essentials of Chinese characters, but then I wanted to show that there's a practical application of this book too, in that you can take the characters you've learned and apply it to how to read numbers, how to read banknotes. There's a whole chapter on how to read a Chinese menu. There's another chapter on how to read business cards, common Chinese names and positions of people, how to address people. Back for the other chapter for learning to read a menu, how to read different types of foods, how to read methods of preparation and methods of cooking, and different types of drinks that Chinese people have. Just all that practical stuff that you would hope to know once you started or once you've learned a solid amount of characters.
Thank you very much, Eric, for your time. This has been a very eventful interview. I hope a lot of people will learn your techniques and find Chinese characters a little bit more friendly.
Yes, I hope so too, and thank you very much for having me here. I hope people find Chinese as interesting as I do, and that they'll go ahead and take the plunge and have fun.
Okay. So thank you, and everyone, thanks for joining us, and I'll share a link to Aaron's book below, and hope you check it out. Till next time.